finding the balance of the yin and the yang, the masculine, the feminine, the passive, the aggressive, the water, the fire. That's the key that I have found through all my, background and research and just my own integration is the key is to find that balance.
Welcome to Spiritual Rockstar Podcast, where world-changing spiritual entrepreneurs come to deeply awaken the power within to bring forth their greatest purpose, while enjoying being in tune with all life and real wealth in all aspects of their lives. I'm your host, Daniel John Hanneman. And welcome to Spiritual Rockstar Podcast Show. I am so grateful to have you here. I am so excited. We've got the Cowboy, the Yeti Master, and the Unicorn Man here. I just have to have fun with you, Dustin. He's amazing. He's amazing. He's a maverick. He is a maverick. I'll tell you that. He's a maverick guy. He's here to shake things up, and you're going to be totally fascinated by this man's path, what he's accomplished, and then what's dissolved in his life and what's emerged in his life, and therefore what he's serving in his life now. So, it's really fascinating. And you women, you better be listening. This guy's got you covered, and we're talking about his book and all about like the empowerment for women and women leading the way during these times. So, Dustin, I'm so grateful to have you here today.
Daniel, thank you so much for having me on. I'm excited.
All right. So let's go ahead and I'm going to share with them a little bit more about you. And so Dustin Dunbar holds a doctorate in spiritual psychology and was personally chosen by Ryan Seacrest to be the shrink, the LA shrink, and serve as the life coach of Endemol Productions Dallas Life Coach. Wow. He currently applies his expertise as a coach at alcoholfreerevolution.org, a not-for-profit online community focused on supporting individuals struggling with alcohol addiction and raising consciousness. What a combo. He's the author of the nonfiction best-selling You're Doing Great and Other Lies Alcohol Told Me. Yeah, sad but true. Dustin is making a bold leap into the world of fiction with his new thriller, Her Holiness. So we're going to be talking all about that today. He's also put his hat in the ring for the 2028 presidential race, and I can't wait to talk to you guys about all about what he's up to with that as well. So Dustin, wow, what a journey. You said you're unpacking like your past lives more and more than ever before, and all kinds of things, right? God bless you. That's what I call the spiritual rock star way.
Thank you. Yeah, I just went to my first hypnotherapy session yesterday. It was 3.5 hours long. And I mean, it was unbelievable. And I know that you're a licensed hypnotherapist and know all about it. So yeah, I encourage everybody to get into that and see what it's about. And it's definitely not the things you see on, dancing around like a chicken and stuff like that. So it's really, I was super impressed with it.
Yeah, it's interesting. Yeah, the myths and the legends about it. And I always tell people, stage hypnotists, yeah, they only are able to do that because they pick out the most suggestible people in the audience, and they know how to gauge that by looking out. And you see somebody like, yeah, like looking like they'll do anything, like their game, right? They're gonna play it. And so, yeah, people cannot be easily controlled that way. Now, I don't know that there isn't certain practitioners that couldn't pull it off, with people that are less suggestible, but yeah, it's a whole topic in itself. But I think it's awesome you're doing that because, yeah, I just have fresh off a healing session today, and it's like, wow, it just opens up your world and all kinds of new ways when we're working on the deeper energetic stuff. And but I know like your journey to get to this place where you're doing all this stuff, doctorate in spiritual psychology. I mean, I'm sure like, 30, 40 years ago or whatever, like you would have been like me, and no, I won't be doing that ever, like, so tell us a little bit about your background and, some of your story that led you to doing this type of work.
Yeah, I grew up in the Midwest, Oklahoma to be specific, hence the cowboy hat right now. I was just there and I've got a fishing lodge and I was in Arkansas. And so still it's summertime, keeping that vibe going. loving it. And I was at the airport there in Arkansas real quick, and I saw this shirt, this t-shirt, and I'm like, oh my God, it's Sasquatch with a unicorn. And for all you just listeners out there, and
Yeah, yeah.
it's so fitting for Her Holiness and what we're going to talk about today, and bringing the balance of the yin and the yang, the masculine, the feminine, the passive, the aggressive, the water, the fire. That's the key that I have found through all my, background and research and just my own integration. Is the key is to find that balance. And through Her Holiness is written, it's funny that it's written by a man, me, and
Yeah.
it's coming out of me. And I'm like, the whole time everybody's like, that's really awkward and funny that it's coming out of some Midwest Oklahoma guy, this divine feminine, and this awakening that is really, I feel like, coming up from us all. And my journey started whenever my grandmother, she taught 63 years of Sunday school, like Bible school, and she was the most spiritual, kind woman in action that I had ever experienced and seen, and person, actually. So male or female. And the whole time I'm sitting there watching all these male preachers and priests and everything, and she can't, is not allowed to do that. And I'm like, what the heck is going on? Why? And and so it's always been there since a very young age to go, these men couldn't hold a candle to her spirituality, and yet they have, for whatever reason, many reasons, suppressed women. And that's what this is all about, is just kind of giving their due and empowering them. And also what we're seeing now is so many women are, incredible sports athletes, and we're watching it more and more. The ratings are going through the roof with sports for women. And then professionally, doctors, lawyers, politicians, we're seeing all that. But the one thing that we're not really seeing yet, and which is going to come, is spiritual leaders in like the Catholic Church. And this isn't just, Catholicism. This is a lot of other religions. And so that's what this is all about. It's just this awakening and getting in touch with what Carl Jung calls our anima. As men, we have the female energy, the anima within us. And for women, you have the anima. I'm sorry, the animus, and which is your male energy. And so I feel like the women are really tapping into that male energy and becoming very powerful because of it. They're integrating it and becoming whole and powerful. And now we're seeing men kind of, I would almost say, demasculine, and like losing that masculine energy. And so that's the big point of this. Is this book is for everybody. It's for, to know that we have all of that inside of us, and we're infinite beings that can't be labeled. And just that beautiful seed, that wholeness of the yin and the yang is included. The circle is the wholeness, and then you got to get into that yin and yang.
Do you want to meditate and make money? Let it be simple. Let it be easy. Let it be fun. Go to yoursacredpurpose.com and get your free meditate, make money meditation today.
Oh yeah, totally. Yeah, I mean it's a lot of things are percolating under my little brain here, as you're saying. In my little brain, I want to say. So I mean, yeah, it's so interesting. I had someone on the other day who basically is a Mormon. I bring on all different types of people sometimes. Mostly it's people more in the new thought, new age, or whatever you want to call it, all that type of genre, but and he sort of is into that too, but he's a Mormon. And he says, yeah, and I didn't, we don't have so much time to get into everything with the show, but he said, I love the guy. I mean, I totally love the guy. He said something though that really struck me. He says, yeah, back in Adam and Eve, and even Eve did a great thing. She wasn't immortal, and Adam was, and it's just like, so my point is, like, there's so many of those type of old religions like that, whatever that isn't as old that one, but you know what I mean, those old more mainstream type of religions that have that male dominant energy. It's all about the guy. I get 100 women, or I'm exaggerating, but I get 20 wives and you get whatever you get from me, like, and I mean, it works perfectly. We see it now, like it shows the Mormon wives and stuff, and some of them are really unhappy, some of them are happy, right? I mean, So I think, I think in life there's room for everything in a sense, and you're right. There's always this balancing, right? Like, okay, guys, you're a little like not allowing the feminine there, and you're a little too like controlling there, and so then the women empowerment comes in, right? And then it's like, wait a minute, we're missing something though. Now the guys, people like me growing up as a kid. I was like Mr. Shy, Mr. Invisible, and part of it became too, especially like as I got older. My sister got pregnant and everything. She didn't know who the father was, all this stuff. The father didn't want anything to do with it once it was determined. I'm like, I'll never be that guy, And so it's just like, okay, I'm gonna be so careful not to be that way. And holding back a lot of energy though, like don't even begin to look at women in a certain way. Like I literally was that way for a while in my younger years. And I gotta be so respectful, I gotta be so not in it, but I had no dates, I had no nothing going on because I was so pulled back, and I was sensitive, very sensitive to all these different things. I thought about all kinds of things. I thought about like the inequalities in the world and stuff before like it became a big thing for young people to think about those things. So, but mostly I felt pretty good about it, to be honest. I'm like, I'm lucky, I did. A lot of times I said I feel sensitive about it, but I'm very lucky. But I think like there's so much in it for everybody, like women empowerment sounds, I think like I have a whole show I used to do, I told you, just two conscious guys talking, and as in response to like, what about guys? The guys need a certain focus and support too with all these changes. And so I think it's great what you're doing, because I think the more women are empowered, it helps men too, like it does when it's done, when it's done appropriately, right? So I think like you're really a great, it's great that it's coming from you, a guy, this work, like we need men doing it, being those advocates for women in the way that you're doing. I think it's really great.
Thank you. That's awesome. And yeah, the religion thing for me, it was all growing up, Oklahoma, there was about five different types of Christian churches within about a mile of where I lived. And my friends, and that was just what you did. Like Wednesday, we'd go to Pentecostal Catfish, Thursday would be Southern Baptist, other kind of thing, social event. Friday, of course, football, so you didn't mess with that. We had to, there was,
No, never.
that's it. And then, yeah, Oklahoma was Jesus and football, and not necessarily in that order, right? And then Catholic, we'd go to mass at 5 o'clock. I remember with my friends, and then I would go to my grandma's Bible school on Sunday morning, and then my mom was Lutheran, so all this I would be going to every week growing up, and the whole time I'm like, this is the same story of Jesus, and yet there's so many interpretations of different ways to look at it, and obviously it's from 2000 years ago, and it's these stories, his story, right? And it was written in a different language. We're trying to interpret it, all this stuff. But what I realized is I'm just a red letter Christian. Is really, I just look like in the Bible, whenever it's read and Jesus said it, that is what I really focus on. And whenever Martha, the mother of Mary, was in the kitchen with Jesus is doing his thing and talking and preaching, and Martha's mad at Mary for not helping in the kitchen, and he says, Martha, Mary has chosen what is better. And that's it for me. I'm like, okay, we've got it straight from Jesus that he doesn't want her in the kitchen. He doesn't want her to do the quote unquote female duties. He wants her out there listening. So why would he want her to listen? And then we go from there and we say, because he wants her to spread the word of what he's talking about and not in the kitchen, right? So there's nothing wrong with being in the kitchen and everything like that, but we can do both. We can have both. And for him to say that directly right there was everything for me. So I just followed that. And then you get into the apostles and stuff later and what they say about, women and all this stuff. But for me, they were full of greed and fear. Judas, we know he did for the money. And then we've got St. Peter, who denied Jesus 3 times, whenever it came down to it. And all the apostles, except John, and of course Mary, were at Jesus's, at the cross. there whenever Jesus was being crucified. So they were all gone. They were all fled. They were all afraid. And so I
Right.
don't consider what they say too much. I don't take too much on what they were talking about. For me, it's Jesus, and then everything else is like, okay, hearsay, this and that, and other
Right.
people's opinions, right? Um,
That's so interesting. That's
yeah,
very, very similar to me. I mean, I definitely pay attention to what Jesus says, and I don't know if I believe every word of his either, right? Like I don't know, but like there's a lot of amazing things he says, and that's I have heard that term before, but now you help me to remember what that actually means. Red letter Christian, huh? So
yeah, yeah. I just got it lately too, and I was like, that was what I was. I grew up, and I just as a kid, I was like, that's what I focused on the whole time, and just
Mhm.
naturally, I think I just got kind of tired of trying to figure out what these other guys were
Other
saying.
stuff makes your mind swim. Like, what are we talking about? Yeah.
Yeah, like where we going?
Yeah.
Uh, and so yeah, but that was part of my upbringing too, and it's just this is all personal stuff that has come through me, and that's what Her Holiness is about. Is just all the things that it's very personal. There's like love stories in there that I've kind of been through and feel, and the,
Mhm.
the difference between with sexuality. It's like whenever I was younger, I was like, do I have to choose God and be married to the church, or do I have to choose family and go that way? It felt very like why do we have this oh, you're so spiritual and you're this, you got to just not get married and you can't have sex and all these things that go along with that. That was awkward, right? So you go through these things and evolution of what's inside of you. And what I have come to, my feeling is that I'm infinite being, and I can
Mhm.
be very sexual and I can be very spiritual, and there's no uh issues or anything like that, shame, guilt, anything like I did have whenever I was younger, because I was hearing all these things from different preachers and religions and even, people and whatever. And so that was definitely a part of my upbringing as well.
Interesting. Yeah. I mean, I know in our, our conversation leading up to this podcast that you talked about, going out there and kind of go conquer the world type of thing, masculine theme and the pitfalls you ran into. And I love for you to share about that because I mean I feel like you're balancing out your own energy path in this lifetime, right? So if you could tell us about that, then that'd be cool to hear about.
Yeah, my great great grandfather was part of the Oklahoma Land Run, and he was a Sooner, and that's where that comes from, Boomer Sooner. And I mean, that time I look back and I'm like, oh my gosh, they were living in literally digging in dirt, living in just nothing and just hard energy. And so
Yeah.
comparing our days today with air conditioning and the heat and AC, and we got everything, it's so different time. And but I come from that, really hard farmer uh type of people. And my grandpa worked the farms like crazy. He wore overalls every day, and it was tough, and it was whiskey, and we're coping, we're getting through, we're getting by, whatever we can do to just survive, was kind of the thing. And there was always a lot of lack mentality. So yeah, I've had to work through all of that, and then with that masculine energy of like conquer, survive, conquer the land, do the land.
Mhm.
And it also went into women, and the women in my family, my grandmother, my grandfather was very, what's the word, suppressive, derogatory, uh,
Right. Yeah.
talking down about women, things like that, and not treating her well at all. And then also my father, he got addicted to alcohol and abused my mother in front of me, and psychologically abusive, all kinds of stuff there. So growing up, seeing that, I vowed to never drink alcohol. No way I'd do it. But then 15 years old, that comes around, and the peer pressure, and the girl at the pool holding the bikini, and she's got a beer in her hand. I'm trying to like be like her, like in be
Yeah.
cool
Yeah.
and do that whole thing. Well, I start drinking too. I end up getting addicted to alcohol. And I look back at that now, and I'm like, oh my God, it was just so much masculine energy. I was just like on fire, trying to conquer. I was trying to do, the corporate America whole American dream of, if you get the cars, the women, the houses, the money, all these external things, then your life will be great and everybody will love you, right? And so
Yeah.
I go out there and I do it all, and at the end of the corporate America dream rainbow, it was empty, and I felt very empty. I felt horrible, and I'm like, what the heck? This was all an illusion. What is going on? And that's when I really went back into my spirituality, and got in my practice and got in touch with my anima, the female energy inside, and got into the compassion, the kindness, the listening, the creativity, everything that comes with that side. And that's when it balanced out for me. And now I've integrated this, especially with my hypnotherapy session yesterday.
Yeah.
I am integrating all of this, and it feels great. It feels complete. It feels whole. The main thing that I learned through that is that, especially men, you have feelings. You can have feelings. It's okay to have feelings. It's actually what you need, and then feel them. And whenever you're triggered, and feel like, okay, do I feel attacked, abandoned, disrespected, not listened to, unloved? Feel and be like, okay, and then communicate it in a calm way right there and then. And it's okay that you have feelings, and you don't need to defend your feelings. They are your feelings, and just stay with it and just be like, hey, this is the way I feel. You don't have to sit there and go, you did this, you did that. Just be like, I feel, and go into
Mhm.
it, abandoned, attacked when you don't listen to me. And in
Mhm.
the future, if you can, I would really appreciate it. If you can't, we need to figure something else out. And once I started really communicating, and instead of getting the passive aggressive, where you're like, oh, I won't say anything. It really
Right.
upset me, but I'm just gonna sit here and take it and not say anything. And then it builds up to where it comes out in aggressiveness, right?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
That's what we hear that all the time. Passive aggressive. Oh, they're being passive aggressive. Well, if you really get into that, that is the whole thing of what we're talking about with feminine and masculine energy. When it's too feminine, it's too passive. When it's too masculine, it's too aggressive. And it's that balance, and then communicating those feelings, that has really made my relationships, my life, so much better.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I would say like for yeah, I mean the feminine, masculine, everybody says, well, it's not about, what gender you are, right? And all that stuff. But it does tend to be emblematic of each gender to a degree, right? I mean, the feminine nature versus masculine nature. So yeah, the passive aggressive is interesting. I mean, I find it trying to creep in on me sometimes, right? Like for sure. I'm sure I'm passive aggressive at times. I'm sure of it. No, I'm no saint. I mean, I know like, but I can catch it, right? Oh, ooh, now you're having like almost like, well, they'll see what happens because of that, what they just did there, and like those ideas that come into your consciousness, and then you have to work that out if that pops into your brain because some of us are really challenged by certain situations in our life, certain family members maybe or whatever, somebody really challenges you, like just it's so hurtful, right? And it's just what do I do? You try to forgive, you try to let it go, the mind tries to like find like safety and wholeness, right? Because it doesn't feel it automatically. So it grasps the strategies. How do I deal with it? Do I be nicer to them? Do I get mean? Do I do that? What do I do? And how do I handle that? And so I think what you're saying is good because yeah, you have to have a balance of like letting go, like universal love, it's okay, whatever's happening here, and then it's like no, this is not right, like getting more assertive, and there's a definitely it's like yeah, it's a flow, life's a flow.
Absolutely. And we get every day, there's triggers.
Yeah,
It's never ending, right?
right.
And I think that,
No, I'm done now. There's no
yeah,
triggers. Yeah, just the minute you say
I
that,
wish.
trigger you really soon.
Ooh, my kids make sure it's never ending. I got a 10 and 12-year-old daughters, and it was the first week of school, and there was chaos going on with, we also had acting and volleyball and all this stuff, and we're driving in traffic, and I mean, and I got triggered, and instead of going into my feelings and being calm about it, I start yelling too, like it's this,
Mm,
and you get caught in it, and you're like, there it is again. And I go back and of course I apologize. Okay, this is how I feel. I feel disrespected when you don't listen to me. And it felt so good. And to
Yeah.
apologize, it's okay. You do, you're gonna
Yeah.
go back into your old stuff, and that's
Yeah.
fine. It's over practice, practice, practice. And then no matter how much we practice, I think it's just we're gonna get those triggers, those daggers every now and then, no matter what.
Right. And sometimes, it goes back and forth for me probably, but there's times that I have such love and compassion for the people around me, even when they slip up or do something that could be not so great, right? And triggers me. I can still be gracious and just kind of do what you said, hey, I don't, I think I could improve it. I'd say something like, I don't appreciate that, like, I'd rather this or whatever, right? But yeah, I try to be, sensitive. And I know when I was younger, for sure, I used to do a lot more. I can be very loud. And I don't even realize how loud that I get sometimes. And so people will be like, "You're yelling," like I still get that to this day sometimes when I'm just talking. I talk loud. My dad talked loud. I talk loud. I think probably got it from him, I guess. So, but people think like, "Oh, he must be, wow, he's so animated. He's talking loud." I'm like, I'm just talking, And so I have to watch that sometimes because it's taken the wrong ways. It's a lot of there's a lot of awareness to build in life.
Tone, I'm telling you, yeah, the tone that we take is so important whenever we're talking versus
Yeah, yeah,
talking, and we're saying the
absolutely.
same exact thing, yet
Right,
like, oh my gosh,
right.
he just yelled at me. I was like, no, I just said whenever we're talking. Then I said it's not, yeah, it's comical. Like you can be, it's the tone is so important. And
I
I
love
had,
you. Oh, yeah, right. Like, I love you. Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
That's totally different. Yeah.
yep.
So us guys, we're coming along, guys like us, and I think overall, I think guys are coming along some for sure. But you're right. Like, there's men that like me, like for a while, like I was really disowning the masculine early on, and to a degree, I did do the weightlifting and other stuff like that, but like in other ways, no. And I wouldn't be assertive. I would, it's totally passive in relationships with people, and other than like my very close friends. Then all of a sudden the aggression would come out. I'd be like, "Let's go, dude!" I'd be throwing asphalt at them, all kinds of crazy stuff. I could have killed somebody. I don't know what I'm doing as a teenage kids, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, get back to the book and everything. Like the fact that you as a guy is come from from this background being more on the hyper masculine sort of route, right? And then like now you're, going in the other direction to balance, and then now you're balancing or whatever, right? You went the other direction probably for a while and kind of balancing and integrating now and to bring this book forward. And tell us about the book. Like what you mentioned a little bit, but tell us about the book and what it really reveals about the opportunity for women to be empowered.
Yeah, so I've got this blue armband on, and Sister Teresa Kane in 1979 and 50 other nuns protested in America when Pope John Paul II came here, and they all stood during his speech, and then she gave a speech about it, and that is what this is about. In 2012, I was living in Italy and I saw a newspaper and it said that the Archbishop of Milan is on his deathbed and he says that the Catholic Church is 200 years out of date. And I was like, 200 years out of date? Like, what are we talking about? And immediately when I said that out loud, basically, I was like, this bolt of story comes to me of Her Holiness and then the first female pope. And through it, I love Da Vinci Code, right? I love fast-paced thriller. That's my favorite, especially ones that are based on truth, on facts of like history. And then you get in there and you're learning while you're being entertained. And that was the goal when I wrote it. And now the reviews are out and people are like, this is the next Da Vinci Code and this and that. And I'm like, oh my God, that's the biggest compliment that I could get. Dan Brown is like my writing hero. And if I could even come close to being like him, then that is beautiful. And people are saying that it is. So if you liked the Da Vinci Code, then you're going to love this. And it's just a great ride of like history. We get into all kinds of artifacts, archaeology in Jerusalem,
Wow.
Rome, it's very similar. And then yet uh and the Audible, what's cool is Audible just came out today, the version, and I intentionally picked a male voice for the reading of the Audible. So I'm learning that 50% of book sales now are Audible, which is unbelievable. I didn't know it was like that. People aren't really reading. I guess they're in their cars and listening and everything. So again, for men out there, this is for you just as much as women. Women are eating it up like crazy, of course, but it's like preaching to the choir, for them. They know they're spiritual, they know they're worthy,
Yeah.
and it's us men allowing them. I can't believe I'm saying that in 2025, that we have to have men allow them to be equal spiritually in, Islam, Catholicism, all kinds of religions where they're not seen as spiritually equal. And the whole time you're going, like Prophet Muhammad, he was huge. It was 600 AD when Prophet Muhammad was around, and he was all about women's rights and equal rights. And he immediately said women are equal and spiritually equal, and then women should be able to divorce. And in 600 AD, that is like unbelievable for him to say that.
Yeah, totally.
Women, yeah, women should have rights to own their own property. Women should, all these things. The heaven is at the feet of the mother, and you're sitting there watching these leaders, these religious leaders, the mullahs over there now, and I'm like, what are you doing? Like Prophet
Mhm.
Muhammad was very specific
Mhm.
in what he was saying, and there's a small sentence about if a woman gets out of line, you can beat them, right? And you're like, okay, that's how often are women getting out of line in Islam and in Muslim, and hardly ever, first of all. And then he never touched a woman himself. And it was like, that's so like so 600 AD kind of stuff. Anyway, we've evolved now past all that, and equal rights spiritually is through all of the leaders of every spiritual tradition. They're all like Buddha, he was all about equal rights for women and spiritually, and so it just baffles me that we're still here and not allowing women to be ordained. And so for Sister Teresa Kane and all those 50 nuns, I'm gonna at all my interviews and stuff, I'm gonna wear my blue armband to represent them.
Wow, I didn't even know that it had happened. That's not something that was on my radar. Because I, you know, I just that's not a news story I knew about. So you learn something new every day, and definitely going to look into that more. I'm glad those things are happening. There's lots of women speaking up, and now that we have some men speaking out, I'm sure there's a lot of men that do speak out about it too. But you're doing it in a way that hopefully it'll bring even a bigger impact than the average guy out there. But like, yeah, because you're circulating this book and everything, and I think that's phenomenal. So yeah, I mean, that's it's just true. I mean, everything you're saying is just true. I mean, why is it that it takes taking so long? Well, they say old habits die hard,
Really hard,
huh?
man.
Because we have to look, women have to look in the, I would say women have to look in the mirror. This idea of like we're putting them down and we did it to them. Yeah, and they were there, like there's a lot of evolutionary, all the arguments, right? Like there's a lot of evolutionary thing, like okay, we didn't have, the way for women to stay protected while to go out and do whatever they wanted all the time, like that. Those ideas are around, and so they needed a nest and whatever. There's so many ways that it's described, right? And you maybe you didn't have your local daycare center, maybe. I mean, it just is a different world, and I think there's room for everything, like my wife, partner, whatever, Deb, she's worked some while we've been married over 20 years, but she's spent a lot of time being a mom. and she in a way she works in my business all the time and directly and indirectly by supporting me. Like guess who do I go to for emotional support when something's going on? Like she's always right there, and that's kind of what I was looking for, because not to keep women down, but because I thought it would be a good pairing for me, because I know, like, okay, I'm going to need a lot of support doing this kind of work in the world. I'm a sensitive guy, and I also believe in the power of women, being around, or a man or whatever, being there for their kids, spend a lot of time with their kids and all that sort of thing. So that's a value that I have. And it's something that resonates for her. It's her dream. Like, okay, yeah, I like the idea of not going out in the world, right? So I think like there's room for everything, but there's choice, right? Like there's choice. I tell my girls, like, you do whatever you want, it's you do your thing. And at the same time, I tell them about the wonders of having kids and having a family and everything, but whatever suits their path is for them. And I think that's the kind of empowerment I think women need on both sides, like that they don't get hemmed into either idea. Like, no more being a mom, no more, like, yeah, we need that too, like, or whatever. All that, it can get really wild, if you go to the extremes, for sure. But women need to emerge. And yeah, I wonder, I'd love to hear, because you're a presidential candidate. You've literally have the hat there, you're throwing it in the ring.
Oh, yeah.
So I'd love to hear it from that perspective too. What can be done? We've got all these legislation, things that can be done, but I always think consciousness is what leads everything, right? So, and then we have the laws maybe to back things up, but we need the consciousness to be there to help support things too. What kind of ideas do you have for women empowerment? I mean, it's great to say, no, they should be able to be ministers and stuff. That's wonderful. But I'm wondering, like, what are the ways in which you see it really happening for women more and more?
Yeah, well, obviously we're seeing women, like I was saying earlier, just starting to literally dominate and like run things
Right,
in
right.
in
Totally,
professional life,
totally.
sports. It's so fun to watch them in sports. And that is that rise of them. I feel like they are really getting in touch with their animus, which is that male energy.
Mhm.
They're
Yeah,
like, look, I'm powerful. Like, and they
right. Yeah,
let
yeah,
go and they got
totally.
fire along with their water, and and we're like, wow, like that's cool to watch, right? And so they got it going on, and now us men, I feel like, are like feeling less than, because we're like, oh, we got to be all nice and kind, and we can't say anything, about derogatory, or we're like scared,
Yeah,
we've been raised by women our whole lives. The men weren't really around too much, teachers and things like that. And so it's this tribe kind of thing, men, that I'm like preaching about, saying, hey, we got to be men. We got to be have that beautiful protective uh energy that is so powerful, but at the same time, and be able to take care of kids and do all that stuff too. So we're infinite, and that's the
yeah.
point. All of this is like, and there's times like evolution of consciousness where even in a life where you go, you know what? For a while, I was Mr. Mom big time during COVID. My wife
Mhm.
at the time was working 80 hours a week, and I literally took them, and I was totally Mr. Mom, and I liked it. I
Yeah,
enjoyed it, and I
yeah.
will always appreciate that time. But when I came out of that, out of COVID, and they went back to school and everything, I was like, oh, I'm glad that's over. Like,
At the same time, right?
so there's it's an
Yeah.
evolution, and I do feel like that's the same thing with my presidential aspirations, is to
Mhm.
bring this all back into balance is the whole key. We've got what I think Democrats, who are the blue, are
Mhm.
very can be very passive. Like, everything's okay. We'll just work it out later, and don't worry about it. And immigration pretty soft, and there's all these other issues, that
Uh-huh.
it can be too soft, right? Then
Right.
we've got the Republican side that's red, fire, energy, and like close the doors and hammer down, and like we have to set hard boundaries, and we're going to use a sledgehammer. And it's like, okay, you guys, we've been through this. We both know that there can be balance, and there's ways to have government efficiency rather than just sending out an email and saying, get your box, you're fired. This isn't like hardcore corporate America stuff. We can be compassionate and yet also set real clear boundaries that everybody goes, okay, and understands why things are happening. Um, I appreciate, what's happening with Trump right now and being able to just get things done and going mowing through stuff, because the bureaucratic tape of the
Right.
past has been horrible. I just
Right.
read where it takes 13 years on average for a big environmental review of a federal to build something federally, like a train, something like that across federal lines or state lines. 13 years. I'm like, what are we doing? Like,
Right. Right.
like I'll probably,
Right.
hopefully, I'll be Buddha by then, if I keep practicing.
Right.
Like, what are 13 years? So
Right.
I'm just like, what? So my point is that I'm bringing the balance. I grew up Oklahoma. I grew up conservative. I moved to, California, Hawaii. I've lived around the world. And so I have both in me. I am infinite. I am Democrat. I am Republican. But overall, I am a free thinking American. And all Democrats, all Republicans are my brothers and sisters. We're all one
Right.
big
Right.
American family, and we can bring this together and we can become the incredible America that we know we were back in the day, like in the 50s. They were Democrat and American and Democrat and Republican. They didn't fight like crazy. And
Yeah.
whenever something was for the good of the whole country, if it would make one side look good, they didn't, it was okay. Now if it's like, well, that's going to make a side look good, then they can't vote for it.
Right.
It's like,
Right.
wait, what?
Everything's bad. Yeah. Everything they do is bad, no matter what it is.
Yeah. And
We're-
so George Washington even said, all right, the founding father of our country said he was against political
Right.
parties. And
Right.
reason is he was against political parties is because of exactly what we're seeing today. And
Right.
that is the divisiveness. He even said it could lead to war, the kind of thing like
Right.
this will lead to fighting, arguing, and even possibly war. So what I'm proposing, it's going to be really difficult to get rid of political parties just because of voting systems and all this stuff is we do need third, fourth parties that are actually real and viable, where
Right.
we're not just red and blue going at each other. And so that's what
Right.
I'm going to be the first independent president since George Washington. And hopefully that party could be white, the color white, and it has nothing to do with skin tone. That's
Right.
ridiculous.
Right.
It's all
Right.
about the flag, the
Like
red, white, and
peace.
blue.
Peace. The
Yeah,
white flag. Right.
but if you look at the American flag, the white in there is the most prolific color. It's not red and it's not blue. It's
Good
white.
one.
That is the
Like that.
glue that brings us all together, and that's what I'm trying to bring is just family and consciousness, high level conscious. We can do conscious politics. We can do conscious uncoupling from other countries if we need to. We can set real boundaries and we can set them without bombing everybody. It's ways to have relationships. That's what we're dealing with these other countries, and the world has become so small that we have to treat this as relationships. Are we going to treat it as a hammer with a hardcore red side, aggressive the whole
Mm-hmm.
way, or are we going to treat it really soft and be passive and
Mm-hmm.
and go that route? Well, what I'm saying is we can be centered and
Mm-hmm.
focused and communicate really well and
Mm-hmm.
set clear, healthy boundaries and do it in a conscious way.
Right. Right. Yeah, exactly. I mean, like, yeah, I definitely have an affinity for one party over the other in terms of like the way I think things should operate best with the current kind of government we have. Like okay, there's other systems we could even employ, right? But the way it is right now, I definitely have a preference one over the other. You're definitely going to lose some people when you said, Trump, that's good, right? They're so triggered. They're like, that's it. That's all it takes. You say even one positive thing about Trump, you're done. Like for some people, it's just, that's insane. It's like guys, if you're that triggered, get back to triggers. It's like, what's the deal? I mean, whether like, okay, for whether it's Biden, Trump, whatever, all the presidents, yeah, we could all be triggered by all of them to some degree. Like, oh, I can't believe they did this or like that, and like, there's not one of them that's absolved from criticism anyway. Like, but it's like that's how it is. You're in the crosshairs. I mean, it's just today now because because of the internet, social media, we all know that. Like, it's just like everybody's got the megaphones and they're in our ears and in our hands all day long, right? So it's just crazy, crazy stuff. So we haven't learned to adapt yet. That's all. I think we have the potential to get there, but it's tough. It's tough when you got the brain is like so safety sensitive, right? It's like, I got to get on this. I got to see what's going on in the world and see what I need to be standing up for. And oh my God, that's where the spiritual aspect is so important. Your spiritual psychology background and what you've done there and bringing that in, to what you're doing with leading in politics and stuff. That's huge. I've always said it. Back in the 90s when the Perot was running and everything, I voted for him, I think, the first time or something. But I was voting, and of course, people say, you're throwing your vote away. That's always what they say with independent parties. That's why there never is an independent party or independent person that can get ahead, very often because that's what people think. It's a throwaway vote. But that very belief creates it where nobody can break through like consistently in that category. So it's like guys, you gotta, if you really believe in, like, we gotta get out of the two-party system, then you need to vote for it. You gotta do it now. You can't hope it may happen some other day. That day will never come. So I would say vote for Dustin if he resonates.
Yeah, and it's just listening and trying not to identify with one side. If you identify, then you become locked.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
you're like, I take on everything they say. Like, I'm definitely not that person
Yeah,
for
we
sure.
got to
Yeah.
listen to one another. We're Americans. We're brothers and
Right.
sisters in this country, and it's okay to have different beliefs. It's okay to be different religions. It's okay to have these passionate arguments. One thing I've really learned about talking about politics is that everybody really cares about America. Even, you go to the super liberal side and they care. They're really wanting it to be better. And then you go to the super extreme side and they really, that's their, then, and so it's that caring that I see in everybody that I talk to, and that is beautiful. Well, we can harness it in a conscious, like, instead of competing, we can do it and be very together. And it isn't like everybody's like, oh, that can never happen. I'm like, the cynics are the do nothing people, right? They can just do nothing. That's what they do with that cynicism. Ah, that can't happen. It won't happen. Independent president, this and that, it won't ever happen. I'm like, that you the whole time, every time you say that can't happen, you're just do nothing. Get out of the way. Seriously, it's time for you guys to get out of the way. The old guard is changing. We got the new Star Wars generation coming in. I'm Luke Skywalker. I want Princess Leia. Let's go. Like this is what we were growing up on. It's the hero's journey, and we're taking it, and it's our time. It's our generation time to step up and do this with a new consciousness. And we got to be tired of fighting. I mean, if you guys aren't sick of it, I sign up for both the Democrat blue, emails and texts and all that, and the red. And literally all of them say, we got to fight the other one. We got to fight.
Right.
And you're like,
That's 90% of their communication, right?
oh my God. Really? It's like watching siblings. You're watching siblings in a family fight, and you're like,
Right.
it reminds me that there's a joke and it says, how many siblings does it take to change a light bulb? And the answer is none. By the time they change it, you've already done it. By the time by the time they get done fighting about it, you've already changed it. And
Right, right,
that's
right.
what it feels like. It's like if you're gonna keep fighting, you guys get out of the way and let us all who don't want to fight anymore get things done. Get some affordable housing, get some great health insurance, get all the things that
Right.
the affordable energy, get everything that we need to happen. It's not that difficult. It's literally not if we put ourselves together.
Mhm.
If we keep fighting and say, oh, that looks good for the Democrats, if we get this and that, then we're not going to vote for it, or vice versa.
Right.
It's ridiculous. That's one
Right.
of the worst systems that you can have. And so that's what I'm trying to bring in is like, stop voting for, people who are just run by big political
Right.
organizations, I mean, big companies, corporations, and billionaires, and vote for the real people. And then we're going to see some change.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, totally. Totally. So I'm glad you're taking that stand in the world, and I'm cheering you and every other person out. Honestly, like I'm all for you, and I'm all for whoever else wants to lead that, like everybody. Like there's 100 more like you. I'm grateful, because like then we have more and more chances at like 1,000, a million, whatever. Because it's just about the breakthrough of like going beyond that entire way of being. I mean, things will change because of the technology, I think, though, because it's going to radically change the way people look at things, as long as, again, we survive some of the changes. Like, because who knows sometimes. But if we do, like, we radically are going to have to change the way we view things. And um I believe, in order for us to survive. So uh that's how I see it. That's end of days if we do not evolve. Evolve or
Right.
die is how I look at it.
Right. True. It's like we have to. And this planet will be like spit us out like nothing ever happened.
Right.
Like
Right.
good to see you.
Crap us out. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. So yeah, tell us more about yeah, what people can do if they want to, support you as a presidential candidate, and if they want to also, get a hold of your book.
Yeah, so DustinDunbarUSA.com is for the presidential stuff, and you can check it all out there. Got some videos up about where I stand on each, part of all the issues. And then the same website has the book on there, but it's Dustin-Dunbar.com is my author website. And then all of my social media is Dustin Dunbar USA. And then I'm going to be giving away. Here's the book here. I just got it like 2 days ago, finally,
Nice.
author copy. And I'm going to be giving away 20 Audible or Kindle, whichever ones you guys choose. Now that Audible's out, I'm super happy. And also 5 print. So it's a healthy book. You'll be getting your money's
Yeah.
worth. But for those of you who want to get free, then do that. And please leave a review. Amazon's all over me about, you don't have it, you got 7 reviews. I'm like, well, what do I do? And they're like, ask people to give reviews.
Right,
So
right.
please, if you like it, do me a big favor. And it spreads the word too of the mission, the blue armbands, and getting this out in the world is if you will please give a review.
Yeah, I mean, that is definitely a title and a theme that definitely could turn into a movie, of course. So I really would appreciate to see that, especially when it gets comparisons to the Da Vinci Code. So, Dustin, I may need to get in the agency lane and help promote that, like cheer you on, to success with that. So, yeah, that's fantastic. If you're curious, go ahead and check it out and get behind it. Check it out. Like me, I've been looking through his videos and stuff, and it's just interesting. It's like a totally different energy. He's not up there, like acting like a robot, rolling out the talking points. He's like being a real person, and just, you can feel the connection, So I think that's really important. And then the book, of course, is earth shaking kind of, in a sense, still, to this day, earth shaking notion that a woman could ascend to that level of being the Pope and all that. And that'd be a phenomenal breakthrough. And I think you should have a woman as a running mate, right? And then that way, women could easily, follow right after you then.
I agree. I agree 100%. That would balance it out my over masculinity at times as well. So
All
uh,
right, yeah, it'd be
depends
perfect.
on the woman too. I've got my sister is more masculine than me. And she's hard. She,
Wow.
she's hard. So it depends. Like it depends on what's going on inside, right? The whole genitalia has nothing to do with spirituality. All right. And that is the key. This is a trilogy that I'm doing. This is not just the one off.
Mhm.
This is a whole
Mhm.
trilogy. And the theme
Mhm.
throughout is that genitalia has nothing to do with spirituality. We are infinite beings, and we the male female just integrate it, have the balance, and that's where the key is.
Yeah, yeah, totally. All right, guys. I'm looking forward to checking it out myself. So go ahead and grab a copy and go ahead. I mean, the Audible, like 50% of sales are there these days. Wow, that just blows me away. But it makes sense. I'm listening to stuff all the time in my spare, spare moments, and I'm not engaged in something else, right?
Yeah,
It's kind of because it's like, wow, I could keep learning. Like, it's keep it coming.
yeah, yeah.
So that's really cool. Yeah. All right, great. So, Dustin, we're going to go into the energy scan spotlight segment here for just a few minutes. Guys, I'm going to be tuning in. I'm going to be channeling answers or downloads, whatever, for Dustin. And so, Dustin, are you ready to receive?
Absolutely.
And guys, as you're listening in, realize something profound is probably going to occur to you. Maybe not, but often does as I'm doing these type of processes for someone else. Okay. All right, here we go. I'm going to go ahead and start tuning in. The first download feeling I get to share is that in some ways, we're very different people, but in some ways we were similar. Like is what I'm one of the sweet messages I'm getting is that we both had this innocence and a sense of our heart being open. We knew the kind of knew the truth, right? We saw through things as kids. And then it's like, wow, but we're supposed to be like this. All right, well, we start conforming and buying in. And I just wanted to say I appreciate seeing that reflection of you and within me, within you, etc. And I think a lot of people came in that way to a degree. So, guys, we came in, with our eyes wide open, and we're told, we have it right, right? And we did. We had it right. So many of us had it right. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and see what else is coming through. So yeah, there's I'm getting kind of like a past life. It seems like you definitely have those. I'd be curious the 3.5 hour session when it's revealing, but I see like a commander, like almost like alien commander kind of shoot 'em up kind of life, and it's just like, yeah, man, it's cool. Let's just kill them all. So it's funny all these different lifetimes that we have, and it's almost like it just was fun for you. Like, it's fascinating. So anyway, I noticed that about you, and I think a lot of again, I have a lifetime that's like that, and not in the same type, but where it's all about killing and domination and everything. So let me see what else comes through. Okay. So I feel like people will come, the messages, they'll come near and far to, come into your presence. Your energy is going to keep heightening and getting stronger in the presence itself. And people will come to you. Um, you're going to bring blessings to people's lives. I see the cross with you. So I feel like somehow like you're going to continue to be talking about the power of Jesus and all that stuff. Like you're that it like because he for some is a wonderful although in male form, like a balance of the feminine and masculine, right? So I feel like people like wanting to, come in person to see you and like yeah, like it's really sweet. It's almost like it's almost like you're a form of a pope, but it's not really. But like I don't know how else to put it. So the image I'm getting, but it's really really sweet. So yeah, there's a few downloads I'm getting. There's always something true about it. There's always something very true about it. So any quick thoughts or reflections?
Yeah, that's that. I think that past lifetime thing, that masculine energy has been around with me for a while. And so that's what this lifetime has been for me is getting in touch with my feminine side. And that's
Mm-hmm.
where the integration and the wholeness and then the
Right.
beauty, the power, the full power comes from. So if you're feeling passive, if you're feeling aggressive, if you're feeling both, then that's what we got to work with. And yeah, with the Jesus thing, my doctorate in spiritual psychology, I've studied all Jesus, Buddha, Prophet Muhammad, the saints, uh, Abraham, Moses, all the gurus, the mystics, everybody. And Jesus for me is it, whenever I really do, pray and give gratitude, that's that real power there. And Buddha is always there too for me. And Prophet Muhammad is coming into my life in the last, I'd say, year. And it's because of the equal rights and stuff that he was all about. And really learning about him has been special too. So I appreciate those downloads very much.
Oh yeah, my pleasure. My pleasure. And so for everybody listening in, if you want to get more connected with me and check me out, go to yoursacredpurpose.com and you can actually go ahead and get a free meditate and make money meditation. And it'll help you open up, get your downloads. For those of you that are healers, spiritual entrepreneurs that watch this show, which is probably most of you are budding ones that want to do it. So go ahead and check that out. And yeah, I mean, I'm feeling inspired today. If you would like to receive some downloads from me, just go ahead and send us an email. Say that you heard me on this show. I'm going to do it the other way around. I've never done this before. And just put downloads, into the subject line, and I'll follow up with you and send you some downloads. Okay. So just opt in and send downloads email to us, all right? And that you heard of me on this show in the body. Okay, so yeah, that'd be fun. I've got a Rock Your Sacred Purpose consultation also on the site. So take a look at that. That's where I'm going to be tuning into your energy and everything, and also helping you with your strategy for your marketing and your sales and all that. I talk all of it all day long: spirituality, energy, business, marketing, sales, all that stuff is what I'm talking to the world and to my clients about all day long to help the spiritual rock stars to thrive in your business to your next level. So go ahead and take advantage of those. You'll be very happy. Some people get huge breakthroughs in just a single session. So go ahead and check out that consultation and we'll go from there. All right. So Dustin, do you have any last words for the audience?
Yeah, and your other download about I do feel the kindred spirit for sure, brothers in this, and keep raising consciousness. That's what we need the most to keep doing a great job. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you so much for being on the show today. It's been a lot of fun, a lot of awesomeness. All right. And so thank you to all the audience. Thank you. Lots of love. Keep on tuning in. We'll keep on rocking it here at Spiritual Rockstar Podcast. Till next time.
For listening to Spiritual Rockstar Podcast. Stay tuned for our next upcoming new episodes each Wednesday and Saturday. Please be sure to subscribe, rate, and review to help us to serve you best. As a reminder, you can get your free Meditate and Make Money meditation at www.yoursacredpurpose.com to rock your sacred purpose. Goodbye for now, everybody.